And welcome back to the show. Building an EmpiHER is a new self-help book that's actually written by our next guest to increase entrepreneurship among young women and reduce generational poverty. Now, it's a memoir that's showing young women a high-quality life and all of their dreams, how they can actually be obtained. Joining me now to discuss more is the author of Building an EmpiHER, is the author herself, Mercedes Edwards. And Mercedes, thank you for being with us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. And so as you have this book out, it's really a book that talks about you, your life, and the great things that you've been able to accomplish. But when we get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's really a lot about your life story.
It is, and it does have a lot of my life story in there. So I'm very open and vulnerable with sharing bits and pieces of my life. But I think a lot of young women, so high school age up until, adult women, retirement age, who are looking to start a small business or, a nonprofit or any type of entrepreneurship, honestly, on the side, can benefit from.
So here you are, not just an entrepreneur, but you're also an author. You took your entrepreneurship and you've been able to grow a blossoming business. Talk to us about your journey, because you're an entrepreneur today, but it was a journey to get there.
Yes. So born and raised in New York City, born in Brooklyn, raised in the Bronx. Even through, college, I graduated from Lehman College in the Bronx and entered the workforce like, most college graduates do. Worked for a while and just tried to find, I think, my niche to see how I can actually prosper in the workforce. And while doing that, I think I tried to take away bits and pieces from every employer that I worked for. And eventually I said, this is information that other girls who are like me, who didn't, get this information, I would say, in high school or college. This is like life skills. Let me go ahead and just jot this down and give it to these females as, information. So it took me about, I would say, 4 years to actually finish the book. And the reason why is because it's not just a book about my story. It also has resources in there. So there is an online platform with digital resources that are the book readers can use. They're editable documents. There are QR codes with pictures and videos and songs. It's just like, I call it a project. Although it's a book, I like to call it a project. So yes.
So going from entrepreneurship to authorship, that's one thing. But for you, really, you wanted to do something in terms of reducing generational poverty. I want you to speak about how you came about that and what you wanted to do.
Sure. So in addition to being an entrepreneur, so I own a nail salon. And again, authorship, this is my first book. I also founded a nonprofit. It's an organization called Billy Inc. I founded that in 2013, and it's a mentorship program for teenage girls. So the generational poverty piece, that's been in the works for me since 2013, just helping to, give financial literacy, entrepreneurship skills, technical skills to teenage girls for the most part. So that was the nonprofit piece, and like that'll never leave me. So anything I do, whether it be write a book, open up another business, there's gonna be some component where we're giving back. And with this book, it's a passion of mine. So how do we reduce generational poverty? Well, I would say start by giving information and step-by-step information on how, the average female or whoever can obtain success. And when I say success, I think financial literacy and financial success, as well as doing something that they love and being able to maintain that after they reach that point. So now that you have the job or started the business and you're earning money, now, what do you do with that money? So we address investing and paying it forward, right? How do you donate, or what organizations do you donate to make sure that, what you've, I guess, obtained keeps like paying it forward?
So as a millennial, you've been able to have a career accomplishment. I think it's a career accomplishment. It's not just a career, it's a life accomplishment because many people would dream of the 800 credit score, but you're there. Not an easy path, but yet still you're able to obtain it. What was the key for you in really being able to have that credit score, which turns out to be some great leverage? It turns out to be leverage when you want to be an entrepreneur and have your own business, leverage when you want to buy your own home. But this is one of the key components that a person needs if they're really going to be able to turn the corner.
Yes. So it wasn't easy. Everything wasn't perfect. So I was definitely down in the 500s at some point. And I would even say back when I was in college, just not knowing much about credit. My parents taught me as much as they could about, credit, finances, life, but they didn't have an 800 credit score. So I learned the hard way. One of my first jobs was actually working for a credit union. And as I, worked with members of the credit union who had hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in these term accounts or CDs, I'm like, okay, but they have a car note for a Toyota Camry. Like, let me look further and, into this and analyze. So I think as far as obtaining the 800 credit score, it started from just backtracking, watching my spending habits, stop living beyond my means, being able to, save, pay off some of those debts that I had, collections that I had when I was unaware of how a credit score worked. I even worked 2 jobs for a long time. And one of those jobs was really just to pay off credit cards that I maxed out with retail therapy, right? Things like that. And then, of course, there's more details, specific details in the book, but it's a few things put together in order to obtain that 800 credit score. And my goal is to help others, if not even an 800 credit score, but just, an excellent credit score so that you can leverage that credit to help you with entrepreneurship or, just other plans and goals you have, like you said, home ownership or other things.
Yeah, and so you got this ebook that you're actually donating, and you're donating to students in a few states.
Yes, so definitely have, the paper copy as well, and that can be purchased, online. But the ebook, I am donating to students, juniors and seniors, because I feel like it's most applicable to juniors and seniors in New York City, Virginia, that's where I live now, and Atlanta, Georgia, that's where I attended college before going to Lehman College. So yes.
Exciting. And so what happens in the future now? What have you got coming around the corner?
I don't know. I think right now I'm like living my dreams. So this book, as I said, it took me 3 to 4 years to finish it. And I'm just looking to see like what comes about. I'm an educator. So I currently train teachers on how to incorporate technology in their lessons. So I think just teaching and giving information is always going to be in my future. To what capacity? I'm not sure, but I look forward to seeing.
I know in doing some background and looking at some of the things that you've done, I said one of the things that really stuck out for me was the fact that you had to make some decisions along life's journey, right? And sometimes everybody didn't agree with that decision, but you had the willingness and the forethought to say, listen, I'm not listening to everybody. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yes, and one of those things was actually marrying someone who, would be labeled as an inmate or incarcerated. So I did go ahead and marry my childhood sweetheart who was incarcerated. And I think a part of the reason behind that, or like my passion, was helping others. Like I know this person since we were 8 years old, and he had made a mistake in his youth at 19 years old. And I think even, during this process of the prison marriage, it's helped him as well as me, because like I said, it took me a while to get that 800 credit score. It took me a while to obtain, my master's degree, my specialist degree in education. So I use this time to really focus on myself and step away from like the dating world. And with him and being incarcerated, he's obtained trades. We work together on the nonprofit organization. So he gives me ideas, I bring them to life. I tell him ideas and he tells me, hey, I think that's great, go forward with it. Or maybe you can tweak it this way. He helps recruit volunteers from behind bars. So yeah, it's something that most people would frown upon or, look down upon, especially with me being an educated female and whatnot. I'm not naive or insecure or whatever stereotypes come along with that. It's just a unique situation that I'm happy with.
Yeah. And so what advice do you give to people who see your life and say, listen, you're definitely embodying what a successful young woman looks like? What advice would you give to somebody who wants to be that entrepreneur, who wants to be that author, who wants to be that successful young lady?
I would say to, number one, put in the work because it's not easy. Nothing that I, have accomplished has been easy, but the hard work is worth it. It's a very rewarding thing once you accomplish a goal. I would also say seek mentorship or help. So mentorship can come in many forms. It can be another person or it could be a program that you find. I know, the city offers a lot of free resources for aspiring entrepreneurs and whatnot. So I would say take advantage of mentorship or any other programs that are out there for free before you are, willing to pay for things if your financials don't permit.
And before we go, I want to have the opportunity to allow people the chance to connect with you. So if somebody wants to connect, wants the ebook, wants to know more about how to get connected and be successful, how do they get in touch with you?
So my website is buildinganempire.com. So that's building and empire is EmpiHER.com.
All righty. So we want people to make sure that they get connected. 2022, a great year of success. Congratulations on all the great things that you're doing. And certainly, I know that you've got some great plans ahead, and we want to have you back to talk more about it.
Thank you so much. I look forward to sharing my next steps.
Thank you. Thank you. Want to thank Mercedes for joining us. Mercedes Edwards, our guest here on the Social Justice Forums.